Daf Kuf Yud Amud Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom. Yisraelim Amru Omrim Ya'anu Hishbahnu. In the case where a person had a property as a debt, or he owed somebody money and now the person wants to collect the debt via the property, and the orphans say that they improved the land and therefore the improvements go to them. But the creditor says, no, your father was the one who improved it, and therefore it's part of my land. And the improvements are me. I don't know. You guys don't cut the improvements. Ami Laveria, who has to prove when it happened? Where it says, Hina said maybe the land's considered part belonging to the orphans, and therefore, therefore the lender has to bring the proof. Amar Usaba, this old man said, the proof is for the orphans to bring it. Why? Because this land is going to be collected, and therefore it's considered collected already. Therefore, we look at it, it's already in the land, there's property, and the land and the Yatumim we're trying to extract, they have to bring the proof. And we bring a proof for Yochanan. Right? There's a tree next to a town. Allah is by town. As Israel, you have to have a clearance around the town, a certain amount of amot, 25, 50 amot, sorry. And for a sycamore tree, and 25 amot for other trees. Sorry. So the question is whether or not we have a town. You're not sure if the tree came first or the town came first. So, it says the owner must cut it down. The owner you don't pay him because the town came first. Alma came into the and therefore we see the fact that you don't have to pay him shows that what Alma given to the the tree has to be cut down. I'm reading the night. We tell him Aitira produce proof that your tree came before the town. And that's why you don't get paid. Also regarding the orphans, since the guy's collecting, it's already considered his, and the orphans have to bring the proof. The orphans proved that it was theirs. When they settle their claim, they could get paid with a portion of the land, not cash. That's not true. Because we know that he could give them cash for the value of the improvement. 3 people we assess the improvements they made to the land, they pay them with nadi, with cash, and not with the land itself. A firstborn son that the improvement was made to the inheritance after the death of the father, he pays cash to the other sons, and he doesn't get double of the improvement like the rest of the inheritance. Similarly, a creditor or a woman who has a ketubah pays cash made by the improvements before they collect their respective amounts. And also a creditor who's made improvements by the purchaser of the debtor's property. So we see over here straight up that the orphans have get paid with cash. Does this mean that Shmuel holds that a creditor has to pay money to the buyers of a field? And but the guy who's buying the field doesn't get paid for improvements. Shmuel said that a creditor collects the improvements on the land from the purchaser, and he does not have to pay. Right. So if I buy a land, and the creditor comes after me for my property and takes it from the purchaser, and the purchaser already improved it, the guy does not, the creditor does not have to pay the purchaser. Maybe you might say, maybe it's not a stira. Maybe there's a difference when there's a harvestable produce, the produce is ripened, and that's when you have to pay him. Maybe in Shmuel is talking about a case where it's not ready, and therefore maybe that's the case where you don't have to pay him. But we know there's many cases. The Shmuel will allow the purchaser to confiscate the debt's land. Even when there's harvestable produce, and still he doesn't have to pay for the improvement. We say, so how do we answer this? When do you not have to pay for the improvements is when the land and the improvements equal the amount of the debt that's owed. Therefore, you don't pay extra. But over here, where you do have to pay extra for the improvements, is where the loan, let's say $1,000, the land $1,000, and the extra $200 on top with the improvements, that has to be paid separate. But if the land is not enough for both the land and if the money is not enough for the land and the improvements, that he was he could give him nadi money. That makes sense according to the opinion of the whole that the guy who bought this property that this third party creditor is trying to take away from him, that if he has money, he can't stop him from repossessing the land. Right. So if I bought a land of someone and the guy who I bought it from has a creditor, like we said, who's trying to take it away from me, the mahloket whether or not I could pay it off if I have money. Can I stop the sale from going through? Oh, don't take the money, don't take the land, I'll pay it off. I guess like buying out of foreclosure of some sort. So it's machloket. So first, according to the opinion that holds that you can buy it off, sorry, who cannot buy it off, Shapir. That makes sense. You could only pay the guy has to pay him for the improvements, and that's it. And but according to the opinion holds either but the guy who has the purchaser who has money can buy off the creditor. But maybe tell him he could tell him, why can't I get the following? If I had money, have a mistake, I could have bought the whole land off of you. Actually, look, this is another. I don't have money to buy out the land from you. Have the geriva the improvements instead of paying me cash, pay me with half a mile of land instead. What's the difference? This land is referring to an apoteki, which means the guy told him the creditor when he made the lender, the borrower rather, when he made this sale, when he took the loan, he said, when you collect, you're only going to collect from this field. Therefore, if the purchaser offers money, the guy doesn't have to accept it because he had full dibs and rights to collect from this field. And therefore, when he wants to pay off the improvements, he can pay off Nadi, not land, because he has full rights to the land. Someone leased the field from his friend for 7 years, for $700. And he doesn't say $100 each, similar to we had earlier. The Shvit year is part of the count, right? The Shemitah is part of the year because you didn't exclude it. He leased it for 7 years. For 700 zuz. And that is not counted because he specifically split it up. The guy was hired for a day. Can collect his wages all night. The guy was hired for the night. Because collect all day. The guy hired for just a few hours. When does he collect? He can collect all day, all night. The guy hired for a week, month, year, or 7 years. If he leaves by the daytime, go back with him and collects that day. If he leaves at nighttime, go back with him, he collects that day and the night. So, how do we know what's the shot regarding collecting? The Hidush is teaching you that you cannot, sorry, you cannot hold back wages that you owe your worker. So the Gemara says, how do we know that a person who worked for the day collects his wages at night? The Pasuk says, don't leave it overnight. How do you know the guy who worked nighttime and collects during the day? Give it during the day. Maybe the opposite. Maybe the night guy can pay during the night after work, and then the day guy collects during the day when he finishes working. Where it says wages are due only at the end of the job, and therefore, if he's working the entire night, then he's only able to collect it during the day, and vice versa, day to night. The Pasuk says, the wages of your worker should not be staying overnight. Obviously it means overnight to the morning. Why the Pasuk does say also until the morning? That means the Isur is only delaying the wages for the first morning. After that, there's no Isur Duraita because you were already over. What happens afterward? He's just over on the Isur Rabbanan of delaying the payments. Yosef, where do we know this pasuk? This is Isur from? Don't tell your neighbor to go back and I'll pay you later and I'll give you tomorrow. It's not nice. Don't delay wages. Okay, turn on. Until his friend says, go hire workers for me. None of them will be over on the Isur Duraita of holding wages. Why? The employer is not chayah because he didn't actually hire them. The other guy did. This guy, the shliach guy, was not chayah because it wasn't the work wasn't done for him. Therefore, the Isur doesn't hold on either of them. If the shliach told the workers, I'm paying your wages, then he's chayav on it, and then he'll be chayav for delaying it. Tanya brother said someone hires worker to perform for his own property, and then he accidentally showed someone else's property. And the he has to pay the workers their wages. And then afterward, he could collect from the guy whose property was worked on. But in our case, what will be the case that the guy's patur? Where I said, "Lo tzich the amar lu," the Breit is referring to a case where the shliach told the workers, "Secharchem shel ba'al bayit." I'm not paying you; the third guy's paying you, and because none of them had the full responsibility of the wages and the hiring process, therefore none of them are over on the yisur if it gets delayed. Yehuda bar Yehuda told his servant, "Zil agli ta'alim, go hire workers for me. The emal who's secharchem ba'al bayit, and go tell them that your wages are on me." Because he didn't want to be over in case, not that he was doing on purpose, but in case he delayed the wages, he didn't want to be over in the right, so therefore he did it through his servant. We remember these two rabbis would hire workers for each other for the same reason. These market traders of Surah, they don't have the isur of holding wages overnight because the workers know when they're working to help the market guys that they're only going to get paid after the market day, but after sales, yani. So therefore, they're not aware overnight. But there is an issue of delaying wages. One who hired workers for a few hours collects all day all night. Marav a worker for the day, a few hours of the day collects all day. Or hired worker for nighttime for a few hours of the night can collect all night. The worker for the day, the hours during the day collects during the day. And Shmuel holds that the guy who works 7 hours during the night can collect all night and day. Rashi says found Mishnah is against that. Our Mishnah said that if you worked for a few hours during that day, you can collect all night and all day. Against Rav, who said that it's only night to day. Gemara says, "Amar the Charav, it's a din shayim. The Mishnah teaching you two separate halachot. Don't read it in one shot. Sechir sha'ot diyom gove kol yom. If you work 7 hours during the day, you collect all day. Sechir sha'ot layla gove kol yom. If you work 7 hours during the night, you collect nighttime. Tanan hayas sechir shabbat sechir chodesh sechir shana sechir shavua. Mishnah said that if someone hired for a week, month, year, or 7 years, it's about yom and he leaves during the day. Gove kol yom, he collects all day. If leaves at nighttime, gove kol yom, he collects all night and all day. So we seem to hold that if the guy is hired for a little bit, at night he can pay it to the next day. Question against Rav. The said, Rav, tonight and tonight. Tonight says, Sechir Masha'ot, the Yom Kovek Yom, hired several hours during the day, quit all day. Sechir Sa'ot Lela Kovek one nighttime, close all night. David reviewed up. Rabbi Shimon says, Sechir Sha'ot, the Yom Kovek Yom. Our guy during the day, close all day. Sechir Sa'ot Lela Kovek Yom, but one was hired during the night, flex all night and all day. So Rav would review that. Now our Mishnah is according to Bishimon. Mikan Amru. We prove from here. Kol hakovesh sechar sachir. Whoever holds back the wages of his worker, over bechamisha shemot halal v'aseh. He's over on 5 isur lo taseh and 1 aseh. Mishum bata ashok drecha. The first isur is not to retain what your friends owed. Mishum bata don't steal. Mishum bata ashok b'sachir ani, not to retain the wages of someone who's poor. Mishum lo batni, not to leave overnight. Mishum biyamot ten sachron, also the basur of on this day you shall pay. Umishum lo tavu alav Hashem, and also the isur of the sun shall not go down on him before he's paid. What do you mean? It's not 5 and 1. It is certain halachot for the night time, certain halachot for daytime. They're not all under the same umbrella. The word says, Amar Chizda Shem Sichirut Ba'alma. True. We're not saying that they all can apply to the same guy. You're never going to be chayavin all in one shot because some are nighttime, some are daytime. However, this is just teaching you that these are all the isurim that are relative to hired workers. What's considered holding back wages and what's considered stealing wages? The guy employer tells, okay, come back tomorrow. That's holding back. If I have here, but the guy who says, I have the money, but I'm not giving it to you, that's stealing. Hold on a second. What type of holding back of wages did the Torah require you bring a korban about swearing falsely? The amount of Higdon is similar to a guy who swears falsely about a deposit. The kafar lebimona who that he denies owing any money. So therefore, a lot of Rishonim changed different case because Rishonim said that it was someone who admitted it but postponed it, rather denied it. So you have to say different case. Mitativ if the guy says, I already paid you, that's called retention, holding back. But if I have your wages and I'm not paying it to you, that's doing. Same question. Which case did the Torah say that you're chayav for robbery by swearing falsely? It's in like the deposit that the guy swore falsely about the money. They denied it. If the guy says, I never hired you, that's referring to holding back. If he says, I paid you already, stealing. Or if Shishad according to Shishad, how is it that he had a problem with Rav Chisda's issue, explanation? How come he had no problem with Rav Chisda's explanation of robbery? And Abaye had to explain robbery again. How come Rav Chisda had no problem with that? Amar Lach, he say to you, Gezel de Gazled. The case of robbery is where the guy robbed him by not paying him. The Hadar Kafre, then he denied it. Then he's chayav swear falsely, and he's chayav a korban if he swore falsely. Yachi, that's the case. I feel Oshek Nami. How come in the pasuk? How come we don't say the same thing by the guy who held back the money? The Hadar Kafre, that he held it back, then he denied it. Where it says, Achi Ashta, he doesn't like to explain it because the pasuk says, by the robbery, it says in pasuk, O Bigazel, or if he robbed him. Michal the Odel sounds like that he already admitted to it. But now he's refusing. Regarding holding back, Miktiv Obe Oshek, he didn't say that he held it back. Oh, Ashak, he retained it. He already retained what he was owed. Rav says, the same halachot. So the same halachot of stealing and holding back. Why do we have two separate Yisrim? For that reason, exactly. To be chayav you on two separate Yisrim. No Mishnah. Whether you hired a man, whether you rented an animal or an item. You can still be over on not paying it on time. Also holding wages overnight. What's the case? Only when the guy demanded the payment and didn't get it back yet. Didn't get paid. But he didn't demand it. The guy is not chayav for not paying you yet. Meaning, only time you're chayav for not paying the guy overnight is when the guy didn't ask for it yet. When the guy did ask for it, if he didn't ask for it, you're patur. Let's say the guy said, "Oh, the storekeeper over there owes me money. Let that money that he owes me be paid to you instead." Oh, it's a shulchani or a different guy, the money changer, and the guy's not paid yet. Nobody is chayav for that yisur. If the hired worker claims his wages when it's due, until he can swear and collect it. But if the time has passed, until he can't swear to collect it anymore. Let's say the witnesses saw that he testified that he demanded it. He can now again swear and collect it even after the time. Get a toshav, a goy who keeps Shabbat Stone in Noach. Yes, there is any sword on paying him on time. But it's no lot of holding back the pages overnight.